Hello, everybody. Jess Lose with the Structural Building Components Association, back with a regular update for the week. It is July 13th, Thursday the 13th. Hopefully that's a lucky day for you. But what I wanted to do with this episode, I guess, is a way to talk about it, or this installment anyway, is talk a little bit about our committees and what we've got going with SBCA and kind of some of the changes that we made over the last couple of years. I live in it day in and day out, so it seems like it's kind of old hat for me, but it might not be for everybody else. So really just wanted to kind of describe some of the committees, some of the things that have happened. Executive committee, that's probably, number one on the hill, if you will. They do a ton. They meet every week, every Friday morning. I'm planning on a meeting for tomorrow morning, actually. And that's led by our president. It includes our officers, the past president, treasurer, secretary, as well as 3 to 4 different at-large members, if you will, for the executive committee. So we've got about 8 right now. We're making some changes with that number in the upcoming bylaw changes that we're going to be going over in Buffalo. And really, that's kind of where the day-to-day, the things that they keep their fingers on the pulse of the association week in, week out. Really good sounding board. If there's an issue that pops up or something that I need to talk over, I bring it up with them. But really, they understand everything from how many people are using digital QC, how many new members we've got, any drops that we've had, those kind of things are the things we discuss. So a lot of things that go on at the executive committee, that's kind of the day in and day out. They understand what's going on with the association, provide a bunch of oversight. And I was thinking about this earlier this week. I've been involved with the executive committee in some way, shape, or form now for about 10 years. And that, obviously now as a staff member, but before that as a component manufacturer, going on as, incoming secretary through the leadership into the president and everything there. So it's been an interesting transition to see everything that's happened. And that's where these next couple committees that I want to talk about really come in. And the first one there is going to be governance. Now, we never had a governance committee way back when, 10 years ago, if you will. And that really allows for a place for the component manufacturers, the members, to really guide and influence what happens with the bylaws, that it's kind of a living document. Any changes, any reviews, any clarifications or things that just need to be talked about. That governance committee does a great job of understanding what's going on. And we've really modernized our bylaws to make sure that we're, doing the things we should be as an association, really just that governance, if you will, of SBCA. So it's really good to have that group. We try to balance between executive committee members and board members to where obviously there needs to be a level of involvement, but we don't want it to just be a replication of the executive committee. So we've got a few different board members, and we've seen how that changes over time too, with some of those moving from the governance into the executive and whatnot there. So that offers, really good insights. And then, just things like chapter oversight. What is an inactive chapter? How do we handle those policies? What do we need to get clarification on? So governance committee has been a really good addition in my mind with that. And the last couple of years, as Gene has been president, we've also had a nominating committee historically, because we need to nominate to fill different positions, whether it's a board position, exec, incoming secretary, which then ascends to the presidency. Well, a couple of years ago, we merged those just as kind of the practical function to make sure that we had representation from the exec and those board members, kind of the at-large, if you will. And that really helped out. And really, I think what we're going to do, again, with some, suggested changes to the bylaws coming up at Buffalo that we're going to look at, is combining those groups to where now they will be the same between the two. And that'll help kind of add the longevity. The meetings are similar. The handling of the information is kind of similar. So it makes sense to whenever, whenever we receive a board nomination or there's a turnover in the exec or any of those things, having that regular cadence. And the governance committee, I didn't mention this earlier, but it meets monthly, which is really nice to have that cadence. It's a good, time period to, review anything that's happened in the last month or upcoming month before a board meeting or something like that. So governance has been a really good addition. And another one that's been a little bit more recent is the finance committee. And this is, a really good addition to kind of oversee the funds of the SBCA. If there's excess funds, what to have happen there, any investment managers or investment policies that need to happen. That had been in the bylaws, but it had always kind of just, it just really never had activity with it. The finance committee really formalized that process. I'm looking forward to working with them as we go through the budgeting for 2024 and making sure that SBCA is going to have the cash flow and the funds available to do the things that it wants to. Obviously, we've got normal operations that happen day to day, but we also typically take on 3 or 4, special projects that we try to accomplish that are, large investments that we try to, drive value to the association and to the membership there. So finance committee is another one of those. Beyond that, BCMC committee, when I was a CM, this was always my favorite, really because it had a deadline. Obviously, we have a show every year, and you got to put on the show or the show must go on. So that's really a fun committee, with the education sessions. This year's show, I will talk a little bit more about specifics at the end, but it is an amazing, I'm really looking forward to seeing all the people there and then all of the sessions, the exhibitors. I think registration closes tomorrow, if I'm not wrong, for the exhibitors to get space. If you want to expand a little bit or do something a little bit different there, certainly can before now and tomorrow, between now and tomorrow. But beyond that, the additional committees, ones we've always had, kind of the marketing, the management, and the membership, the 3 M's, as I call them. Those are really good committees that have been active and longstanding and going really well. ENT has had a little bit of a resurgence or reemergence, if you will. Howard has been leading that. They are tackling BCSI and looking at some updates to that document. And then also some additional committees, that these are opportunities for people to get involved. These committees probably need a few more people on them. Advocacy is one of them. Rick Perino has kind of chaired that for a number of years. He does a great job really advocating locally. And I think that we've got some ideas to try to expand that. And I think that's a way for people that don't necessarily travel to the OQMs, for them to be involved, maybe doing more online meetings, that kind of stuff. Design manager level would be good because they know the codes. They want to influence the codes, would be a good spot for that. Also IT, we've got that committee. Anybody that, IT is kind of that one that's off, I don't know if they're necessarily in the dark rooms hacking things or whatever. However they keep your systems going, much appreciated. You want to have, the relationships between different ones to where they can kind of crowdsource solutions to problems. Beyond that, safety, we've got that. Quality control is another one. Jeff Smith talk a lot about digital QC. We're talking about some wall panel stuff there. So a lot of things there, but really just, the committees are kind of the heartbeat of the association. We want to bolster those that, might be down on membership, and others that have been going great. We want to keep them going as well as we can. And, we're going to have our committee meetings coming up at Buffalo here within, I think a couple of weeks. We should be probably about ending the board meeting about now, if not a little bit earlier. But beyond that, into BCMC and into next year, we'll be looking at all the different things going on with committees. I have gone a really long time. I typically try not to talk this much, but I guess I was a little excited about committees. We'll talk a little bit more about them beyond that. Again, register for BCMC. If you're an attendee, do that now. Get to the 40th dinner. That is going to be amazing. Tickets, I don't want to say they're running out. We still have several available, but it's going to get close. Exhibitors, get your stuff done. Tomorrow's the deadline. Also register for all the ancillary events. Back Nine, that's like Top Golf. Also, golf tournament, golf outing at BCMC. We've got the bike ride, the Joe and Adam Canapel 5K run or walk. But either way, that course will be beautiful in Indianapolis. But there's a few other things to look forward to there as well. So I'm going to get out of here, let you get on with your day. Have a great week, great weekend. Till next time, peaks up, because that's where the peaks go, and press on, because that's what we do. So we'll talk to you later. Goodbye.